1, 2, 3, go!
Here we go, we start. So this is my episode of the Scout Towel with Tex. Tex, where are we?
Well, we're at Waterworth Park, Sunday training, Tuesday nights, where we live for, I guess, 6 months or so.
Yes.
But
yes.
I guess you can see all the lads behind us warming up.
Yes. Some
Some current Goannas just here.
Yes, that's right. And that's the whole point. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about Goannas.
Sure.
Because, mate, you were the first captain of
Indeed.
the team, 2010.
Correct.
How did you get there? How did you become the captain?
Well, I guess I was just voted by the team at the time, but yeah, it was the first campaign that the 24s, well back then it was under 23s, but yeah, the 24s campaign, and it was a pretty quick turnaround from the announcement of the tournament. I think we only had I can't remember exactly, but it was 8 months or something.
Okay.
They just announced it, and then the ball had to get rolling pretty quick.
But
yeah, we had our first camp. We got together as a team. We talked about a lot of things, and yeah, but I guess I was lucky enough to be voted captain and got to lead that team. It was really great. One of the best years.
That's really setting the standard and history for so the subsequent teams. So what is that like to start a brand new campaign, the first one? You have like I said, new.
Yeah.
What direction, what standard, what values did you have? Sure. What did the camps look like back then too?
Yeah, I guess a lot in there. I'm not sure if we all really knew exactly what we were doing in terms of setting up things to come. I mean, there was a bit, obviously the first time there was a bit of knowledge around whatever we do is sort of setting the platform in a little way. I mean, we got to name the team, which was really great. We got, I guess, to go to the first one, but I'm not sure if anyone had a real conscious of if we do this, that all these things will happen after us. I think everyone was just happy to be there and excited for the opportunity to go and represent Australia at this new age format of Ultimate at the time. Training camps, I mean, they were kind of like they are now, maybe a little less professional back then. But yeah, I guess most of the same, coming together as a group, trying to, in a short amount of time, bring a team together, get chemistry, train tactics, all that sort of stuff that still happens now. But yeah, probably just maybe a little bit less organised than what you do, and a little bit, it was just the same. All the basics were the same. It's just kind of everything's got a bit more streamlined, a bit more professional, and a bit more, organised, I guess, than we might have been at the time.
Even communicating, we use Slack and Messenger, and I can talk to you, text blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Back in 2010.
Yeah, we definitely didn't have Slack and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
A few spreadsheets.
Yes.
I've got a few spreadsheets and email. I think I've probably still got some emails somewhere in my long history of emails. But yeah, it certainly wasn't like it is now. I mean, the internet was around. We probably had some sort of chat, but
yeah, I can just imagine how hard that would be. We'll take that for granted.
It's just the way it was. It wasn't easy. It wasn't hard. It was just it was just what we had. So you just did it. I don't know. I guess maybe a bit harder than what it is now, but at the time it didn't seem hard. It's just all you had, right? So yeah, that's just the way it was.
The Goanna's name.
Yes.
Why? How? In your cast back,
Well, yeah, as I mentioned on that first camp, we got together, and I luckily got to go out with the Goannas from this year out to Mount Solitary in the Blue Mountains.
Okay.
So just out off Katoomba there. That was our first camp. It was a bit more of a bonding camp. We hiked out there. We stayed the night, came back. We played some Ultimate the next day, but it was more about getting to know all the guys and coming together, I guess, talking about the team and all these sorts of things, and voting for captains, as we mentioned. But yeah, one of the things was we got to decide on the name. Yeah, we went up to the mountain, and we found this kind of big rocky outcrop area, similar to what we did with the guys. We didn't get to quite exactly the same spot this time, but a very similar sort of spot out on this big rock overlooking the kind of Blue Mountains out there. And yeah, we had a big conversation about obviously how we wanted to play, team values, all that sort of stuff. But I guess one of the big things was what we were going to call ourselves. That was obviously one of the things we knew was going to be, kind of a legacy from our team. We got to make some of those decisions. It was really awesome, really fun. I can't remember all of the names off the top of my head, but I do have, I think I do still have the spreadsheet where we collated the votes.
Wow.
But we all came up, we kind of opened the floor up to all the team. I think about 10 names were turned out. Second was Blue Healers, I think.
Blue Healers.
Aussie Dog.
Yes.
But I can't remember too many of the other ones off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, so we kind of came up with these 10 names. We wrote them all down. And then I think we just created some sort of, Google response form, and people just voted on all the team names I think we actually voted for all of them, like 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for last.
All right.
So I had this like really big tally, which is probably not the most efficient way to do it, but
just get it done.
We were just young, just got it done. Yeah. So, and that's it. So yeah, everyone voted, had their say, and Goannas came out on top. And yeah, that's kind of how we landed on it. And I have no idea who was the person that nominated the name. It's too long ago for me to remember the detail of who actually came up with the name. But yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
And so once all the training camp was done, and you went over to where was that at?
Florence.
Florence.
Yeah.
Wow. What did that feel like for you guys? You always mentioned to me anyway that it's a really important campaign. You're young, you remember it. It's a special time, and I'm just trying to get that out of you. Like,
sure,
what is it?
Yeah, it is. It's certainly up there as one of my absolute favorite campaigns. Like I said to the guys on the walk, it's special because you're all in the same stage of life. You're all pretty much the same age. There's only maybe a couple of years that separates everyone, as opposed to some of the all age teams where you might get a large spread where even though everyone is, quite close and friends and all that, people in different stages of life. Some have kids, some don't have kids, some are doing this, some have full-time jobs, some are uni. Whereas everyone in the under 24 is very much still in that same sort of young area of your life where, you're on the same stage, just you and your mates. It's this awesome, I don't know, it's just the best year. It's such a good year. And everyone I've spoken to from that first one all the way to the ones now that have been since then have all kind of noted how strong friendships you build on this team. And I think part of that is just because you're all in that same demographic, I guess, at the time. Lots in common. You all know the same lingo. You all, all the same jokes. You all, all that sort of stuff kind of comes down to it. And you just get this really strong pull together. And, you just make some really great friends. You have a really great time. Yeah. Everyone I've spoken to about it have all mentioned how fun the campaign is, how much of a good time it is. So yeah, it was like that. We got over there. It was actually, on the back of World Clubs that year.
Okay.
So we're all I'm pretty sure everyone on the team played World Clubs, which was in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
In Prague. And it was about a month before. So yeah, so we're all in Prague, play World Clubs. And then I think maybe there was about a week after that where people were kind of just doing their own thing. And then we all met up in Milan, in Italy. I had a kind of a pre-tour together and, played some games, did some training and just hung out with in a place called Rimini, which is a little bit like the Gold Coast. It's a bit of a party town, retirement town. I know it's one of those strange sort of beachside towns, but yeah, it was just great. Like we were there, the Stingrays were there, everyone just hanging out, having a good time. Preparing for this tournament, and yeah, it's awesome. It's just really, really fun.
Yeah. I can imagine when you get so many of your friends and players together in the one place, play international tournaments, especially, when you're young too. It's such a special moment. The youth, they don't know how good they've got it, right?
Well, they might, but yeah, as I guess when you look back, you do realize how good it was. Yeah.
And that leads me to our next question, because you have such a storied career, mate, within Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you taken from the Goannas campaign that you've taken with you through your subsequent successes in Ultimate?
Sure. Well, a lot of friends for sure, but I guess more Ultimate related. Just trying to think. I think probably one of the biggest things that I was able to kind of build on from that campaign was probably my leadership style and how I lead teams. That was my first, like, I guess, leadership position on an Australian team. And so it was kind of like, I guess, the beginning of that stage for me and moving forward. And so I learned a lot. I had two really good vice captains in Seb and Dan Rule, who certainly were a huge help for me at the time. And yeah, so I think a lot of learnings I had from that campaign on, I guess, how you be a captain and how you need to behave and perform and act and, you know, all those sorts of things, kind of was the basis of how I kind of progressed from there. So yeah, I mean, I certainly probably wasn't awesome at the time, but I hope I did a good job. I think I did a good job, but it certainly gave me a good platform to build off. And that's certainly a lot of those experiences helped me in future years of, tweaking how I can be a leader and how I can help the team and all that sort of stuff. So maybe that's probably in a playing sense, probably one of the biggest things I got out of it was like just a really great experience. I obviously had a great bunch of guys to play with and they obviously helped me as well in how I lead and they influenced me on how I behave and all that sort of thing. So in terms of, I guess, my playing career onwards after that, that's probably one of the biggest things. I was lucky enough to get out of that campaign. So yeah, really privileged I was able to be voted into that position and it certainly did help me a lot in the future kind of going forward, that campaign and, the roles and responsibilities I was given. So yeah, that was certainly probably one of the big things for me was kind of just learning my way as a leader and having a great bunch of guys to do it with. So
sweet. Now, on the field, I don't know, you remember those games a lot. It actually got a bit of like a So what's one awesome memory when like they can remember on the field?
Yeah, on the field. Well, I've got a few, I guess a couple of good memories.
Yeah,
the fields weren't great. It was like I've got a feeling it was like a horse racing area and we were kind of in the middle, but, a few, watching the girls win gold, it's not particularly us on the field, but that was a super awesome moment. I remember all of us up in the crowd, in the stands and the crowd just like going wild. It was great. So that's certainly a high memory. Like I think, first ever gold medal that Australia's got.
Wow.
And so that was really cool. And then, just a couple of good things. We had a showcase game against Colombia, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, so we had under lights, maybe like day 3 or so. And we put in a really great performance. The team played awesome. I think we got a pretty decent sized win that night and it really kind of like showed we were there to play, which was really fun. But yeah, anyone that's played a showcase game at any level, I suppose, but particularly at world's level will know that it's super special. A bunch of people there under lights. Night games always seem a bit more, I don't know, a little bit more to them than just playing in the day with everyone else. So that was certainly a big highlight of the tournament for us as a team. And it was just, it was super nice. All the players played really well. It felt like a little bit of payback. A lot of the guys played in 2006 on the under-19s team with me, and we lost to them in the 3-4 game. And so there's a bunch of those guys have also come back playing. So, it was, I guess there was a little bit of an undercurrent of like, we got to get one back.
Yes.
We got to get one back. So that was nice to do that as well. But yeah, that's probably one of the highlights, I reckon, for the tournament was that game was really good.
What advice? And we always ask what advice to give to Goannas, but I've had a few young people come up to me recently, 16, 17, or even just young players. They can say, I'm going to try for the Goannas next one, Vince. Or I've got X amount of years, that's my goal, and, what advice do you give to those young Frisbee players that have their sights set on playing for Australia for under 24s?
Well, I guess like any goal, you got to put in effort to get reward. So, I think looking back to when I was young and first starting out, I think some of the things that helped me was like playing lots, like going to leagues all the time.
Yes.
Playing lots of games, getting game repetitions. I think playing games is one of the best ways to learn how to learn to be good.
Yes.
But also, I guess seeking out and surrounding yourself with better people, better players than you are. And, if you're, I guess, one of the better players on your team, can you go find another team to play on another night and surround yourself with some more people where you can learn from? When you're playing against other good players, can you maybe go match up on people that are better than you? Don't kind of shy away from that challenge. Because if you play on someone that's better than you'll learn quick, smart what they're doing and what you're not doing. So that's a great way to learn.
Okay.
And just challenge yourself. Put yourself in areas where you're not comfortable. No one's ever going to get better just, going the way they're going. You got to keep challenging yourself and trying to develop, trying to learn, seeking out, advice and knowledge from people that are a bit older, a bit more experienced. It's one of the great things about the ultimate community. Everyone will help you. Like I've never seen someone come up to anyone and say, "Hey, can you help me out with this or that or whatever?" And no one's ever going to say no.
No,
right?
yes,
so
right.
it's just about taking the first step to go up and ask. Everyone's super friendly. So yeah, just, ask people how to improve, put yourself in challenging situations. Don't shy away from it. If it gets hard, it's not going to be easy. It's just going to get harder as you want to go up levels of ultimate. So yeah, just keep leaning into the challenge. Keep, making sure you're putting yourself out there, and yeah, try and learn as much as you can from the people around you. That's probably what I'd suggest.
That's your tagline, Tex. I've known you for a little bit now, and when I think of you, I just think of lean to the pressure, leaning to the challenge. And I hear that from you all the time, and it's like infectious. And I've applied some of that to my personal life. Going, you know what,
yeah.
Sunder and Tex,
yeah,
they'll lean into this. They're not gonna walk away from this.
That's something I try to tell everyone, particularly when people start making Australian teams or next level up, is that it's not going to be easy, and you got to be comfortable under pressure. Even the best players, it's not easy. It's hard out there, and if they're the best player, they've probably got a bit more pressure on them to be the best player, to be performing and all that sort of stuff. And it's not that pressure doesn't exist for good players. It's just that they relish in that situation. They invite it to come to them so they can play in it and be comfortable playing in that. And so that way it doesn't, I guess for me, it doesn't really affect you in a negative way. It's something to crave. Something I've always craved is playing at that level. And part of that is that it's hard, and it's going to push you to be your best. And I enjoy that challenge myself. So yeah, I guess what I always try to tell people is, really lean into that. If there's pressure there, it's a good thing. It means you're playing at a level that's hard. It means playing at a level that's high. It means you're challenging yourself. You're going to grow. You're going to get better. And if you're in that situation a lot, you're going to become more comfortable in that situation. So you're only going to benefit, from doing that. So yeah, I think it's something that served me well. And so hopefully I can impart that on other people, is just, I guess lean into the pressure, lean into the challenge, enjoy it, embrace it, be motivated by it, and crave it, crave playing at that level. It's a good motivator. It's what motivated me for a long time to keep coming back and keep playing, was just that enjoyment I get out of, really high level, high pressure ultimate. And so, yeah, if you can...
Jeez, Tex, you're just oozing at the passion. Just oozing at the passion, Still hear it in you. We all can hear it in you. Sure, yeah. You're just like letting it out, and mate, wow. Tex, I'm letting you back to training.
Sure, no worries.
Thank you for joining on the podcast.
No worries.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Guys. Yeah, good luck, everyone.